YouTube, and welcome back to Cover 2 Credits. Today's a solo video for me. Kevin and I weren't able to meet our schedules up today to watch a movie together, so I went this morning and watched A Cure for Wellness. Now, I knew this movie was going to be very different style, kind of horror, but not like gore horror, just kind of suspenseful horror. And it was very interesting in that aspect. This movie stars Dane DeHaan playing a character named Lockhart, who I don't know if they really ever call him anything but Lockhart. Either way, he works for a large investment company of some kind, and basically they sent him to the Swiss Alps, to this institute, to bring the CEO of that company he works for home. Now, that does not end up being as easy as he originally thinks it will be, and while going to the institute, he meets Jason Isaacs' character, Dr. Vollmer, who is the head of the entire institute. You go in and there's mostly elderly people. There's no young people minus one, who is our third lead, and I'll get to her in a second. And they're all seeming to enjoy life in this beautiful, picturesque area in the Swiss Alps. Lockhart tries to meet the CEO, his name's Pembroke, and they kind of give him the runaround, so he decides to go down off of this, because it's on like this mountaintop, and the city's all down below. And so, as he's driving in, originally, the driver tells him the story about how the townspeople and the people on the hill have never really gotten along from way back, and they elaborate on this story throughout the movie. Now, on the way down the mountain, in the trailer you see this is not a spoiler, on the way down the mountain there is a car accident with a deer, and he breaks his leg. So they keep him on the mountain in the institute to heal, to make sure he's okay, which begins fine. While wandering the grounds with a broken leg, he meets the third lead. Mia Goth plays a character named Hannah, who is the only youth on the mountain. A few of the doctors are younger, but nowhere near as young as her. And it's very prevalent. You'd notice the difference in age compared to her, compared to everyone else. All three of the mains in it, all the secondary, the acting is great in this movie. DeHaan has been hit and miss for me, and just as some movies. He was good in Spider-Man back in the day as Harry Osborn. He's been hit or miss. There's a couple movies coming out coming from him eventually. Who knows how that'll be. So, Jason Isaacs I've liked a lot, and Vollmer is a very seemingly as a doctor, he seemingly gives you a lot of information, yet you can tell he's not giving you really any information, and that spreads like wildfire as his story evolves and expands. And the same with Hannah, is a very, very sheltered when people talk to her, and you can tell that something else is going on at the institute that has to do with all of these people, yet no one understands what's going on, and there's only really one person, well, Lockhart, who thinks there's something going on and is starting to look into it. But other than that, everybody is more than happy to be there. Nobody talks about leaving. In fact, when he talks to Hannah, she says, no one ever leaves. Well, he didn't really know what that meant until the movie evolves. Now, I will say, this movie gets very twisty and turny. And what I mean by that is, it's like, you hear something in a story, and you assume that this is what's going on. And then you get closer to this, and you find out that there's more of a right turn with that. And then, at about the 3/4 mark, you take a hard left. And you're like, whoa, this makes sense, but I did not see that coming. And that's kind of how this entire movie goes. And, you know, I enjoyed it. This is not to say it's a bad movie. I enjoyed it. If you like suspense and you like that kind of twists and turns, by all means, see this movie. If you find if you're lucky enough and hit it in the theaters with a good crowd, this would be a good movie to see. I always like the ambiance of having people there and seeing what they think and how they react to things. The people that they have playing as like the patients there are all acted very well. There's a couple relationships you talk to. You don't really build anything, but a few people they talk to. It's a beautifully filmed movie, and what I mean is, like, obviously them setting it up in the Swiss Alps is going to be pretty, but like the way it's filmed reminded me of an older styled movie, like lighting and interior lighting especially, and the way the Institute itself is supposed to be an old place, so like furniture and fixtures and things like that are very old, and it looks like a movie. It feels like a movie that was not recently shot, and I enjoyed it wholeheartedly. This is definitely a movie I would recommend you see, and I'm going to give it a 7, and that's not saying that it's not a good movie. It's just, it's not, it is what it is. It's a scary, suspenseful thriller. And it met exactly what I wanted for that kind of a movie. And I would recommend it wholeheartedly to see this. So hopefully some of you will see A Cure for Wellness. And let me know what you guys think when you see it. And if you are interested in my opinion on any of the spoilers, comment down below. Say something on Facebook for us. Tweet us something. A message on Instagram. Let us know what you guys think. Follow us on all those sites as well. Facebook, Instagram, I said YouTube. Yes, follow us on here. Subscribe, please. But also on Twitter. And as always, thanks for staying until after the credits.